The massive alien ship hung in orbit above Earth like a dark cloud, its metallic surface reflecting the pale moonlight. Inside their command center, the aliens known as the Grey Ones celebrated what they believed to be their most successful mission yet. They had managed to abduct 30 human children from various locations around the planet, all without triggering any major alarms. Commander Rod, the leader of the Grey Ones' infiltration force, stood proudly before his crew. His species had been studying humans for decades, watching them develop from a primitive civilization into one that was starting to reach for the stars. But what fascinated them most was the human ability to adapt and survive. The Grey Ones wanted to understand this trait, and they believed studying human children would give them the answers they sought. "Our collection chambers are secure," reported Officer Tim, one of Rod's most trusted lieutenants. "The human offspring show remarkable resilience. Even in captivity, they display the adaptability we've observed in their species." What the Grey Ones didn't realize was that they had just made the biggest mistake in their species' history. On Earth, the first signs that something was wrong came when parents around the world reported their children missing within the same 12-hour period. Initially, local authorities treated these as separate cases, but it didn't take long for global intelligence agencies to notice the pattern. At the Pentagon, General Ann Miller stared at the massive screen before her, red dots marking each reported abduction. "This is no coincidence," she declared, her voice tight with controlled anger. "We're looking at a coordinated attack." The room fell silent as satellite data began streaming in. Multiple countries had tracked unusual atmospheric disturbances during the time of the abductions. The Chinese, Russians, and Americans had all detected the same thing, a massive object in orbit that somehow managed to avoid most conventional detection methods. "They're using some kind of stealth technology," explained Dr. Jack Thompson, Earth's leading expert in extraterrestrial studies. "But they made one crucial mistake: they got greedy. Taking so many children at once made their pattern obvious." Within hours, an emergency United Nations session was called. For the first time in human history, all nations agreed on a single course of action: humanity would not stand for the abduction of its children. Ancient rivalries were set aside, military secrets were shared, and a global task force was assembled with unprecedented speed. The governments of Earth made a show of panic and confusion for the benefit of their invisible observers. But beneath this facade, humanity's military forces were mobilizing with cold, calculated precision. Every space-capable nation began preparing their most advanced vessels and weapons, while ground-based defenses were quietly brought online. In orbit, Commander Rod observed Earth's apparent chaos with satisfaction. "See how they scurry about in confusion," he remarked to his crew. "These humans are still too primitive to comprehend what's happening. By the time they figure it out, we'll be long gone with our research subjects." A junior officer approached with a report. "Commander, we're detecting increased radio chatter and military movement, but it appears disorganized. Should we be concerned?" Rod dismissed the warning with a wave of his long, gray fingers. "It's just their typical response to uncertainty. Their military forces are primitive compared to ours. Continue monitoring, but maintain our current position." Back on Earth, in a hardened bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Miller met with her international counterparts via secure quantum-encrypted channels. The faces on her screen represented the combined military might of Earth's most powerful nations. "The alien vessel maintains its position," reported the Russian general. "They clearly believe their stealth technology makes them invisible to our instruments." "Then they don't know about Project Guardian," Miller replied, allowing herself a grim smile. For decades, Earth's nations had secretly collaborated on advanced defense systems, preparing for exactly this type of situation. The public knew nothing about the orbital weapons platforms, the energy shields, or the fleet of advanced spacecraft hidden in underground bases around the world. "All task force elements report ready," announced the Chinese admiral. "We can launch on your command." Miller looked at each of her counterparts' faces, seeing the same determination reflected in their eyes. Remember, our primary objective is the recovery of the children. But make no mistake, we're also sending a message to any other aliens watching. You don't mess with humanity's children. She took a deep breath, then gave the order that would change human history forever. Operation Parents' Fury is now active. All units, execute at will. In orbit, Commander Rod was about to learn that his species' decades of observation had missed something crucial about humanity. When threatened, especially when their children were in danger, humans didn't just fight back, they unleashed hell. The first indication that something was wrong came when Rod's sensors detected multiple launches from Earth's surface. But before he could even process this information, his ship's stealth systems began failing, one by one. Humanity had spent years studying previous alien incursions, and they had developed countermeasures for exactly this type of technology. As Rod watched in growing horror, hundreds of previously invisible human satellites revealed themselves, their weapons already locked onto his vessel. His ship's sensors began detecting energy signatures unlike anything they had encountered before. Humanity had weapons that the Grey Ones hadn't known existed. Officer Tim rushed to the command center, his typically gray skin now pale with fear. "Commander. We're detecting multiple approaching vessels. They're human ships. But that's impossible, they shouldn't have this technology." Rod stood frozen, finally understanding the terrible truth. They hadn't been studying humanity, humanity had been studying them. And now, they were about to learn firsthand why taking human children was the worst mistake any alien species could make. As the first wave of Earth's defenders approached the alien vessel, General Miller's voice broadcasted on all frequencies, "This is humanity's first and only warning. Return our children immediately, or face the consequences of your actions." The message was clear, Earth's wrath was about to be unleashed, and the Grey Ones were about to learn why you should never, ever, mess with human children. Commander Rod's ship shuddered as the first volley of human weapons impacted their shields. The Grey Ones' defensive systems, which had always seemed so advanced, were struggling against Earth's unexpected firepower. Warning alerts blared throughout the vessel as more human ships emerged from their hiding places around the moon and various orbital positions. "Impossible!" Officer Tim shouted, his fingers dancing across the control panels. "They're weapons, they're based on our own technology. They've been studying our ships from previous reconnaissance missions." Rod gripped his command chair as another blast rocked the ship. "Activate all defensive measures. Begin emergency launch sequence." But before his crew could comply, a new threat appeared on their screens. Dozens of smaller human vessels were approaching from multiple directions, using attack patterns that seemed eerily familiar. In the lead vessel of Earth's attack fleet, Colonel Mark West coordinated the assault. His ship, the EDS Vengeance, was humanity's first purpose-built space warfare vessel, designed using reverse-engineered technology from crashed alien craft. "All squadrons, maintain attack formation Delta. Remember your training, their shields are strongest at the poles. Focus fire on their equatorial sections." The human fleet moved with practiced precision. Years of preparing for this moment showed in every maneuver, every calculated strike. The smaller ships darted around the alien vessel like angry wasps, their weapons precisely targeting known weak points in Grey One technology. Back in the underground command center, General Miller watched the battle unfold through real-time quantum feeds. "Status report on the children?" "Advanced scans confirm 30 life signs in their holding cells," replied Dr. Thompson, monitoring bioreadings from his station. "All alive and stable. The aliens appear to be using stasis technology to keep them unconscious." Miller nodded grimly. "Launch Phase 2. Let's show them what happens when they underestimate humanity's protective instincts." High above Earth, seemingly innocent satellites suddenly transformed, revealing hidden weapon systems. Project Guardian, humanity's secret orbital defense network, came fully online. Powerful energy beams lanced out from dozens of platforms, creating a containment grid around the alien vessel. Inside their ship, the Grey Ones were beginning to panic. "Commander," called out a junior officer, "they're using a quantum containment field. We can't engage our jump drives." Rod's face darkened with fear. Everything they thought they knew about human technological capabilities had been wrong. These weren't the primitive beings they'd been observing, this was a species that had been deliberately hiding its true power, waiting and preparing. On the Vengeance, Colonel West received new tactical data. "All ships, be advised, Operation Trojan Horse is go. I repeat, Trojan Horse is go." Small, stealthy pods launched from the human vessels, using the chaos of battle as cover. While the Grey Ones focused on defending against the main assault, these pods attached themselves to the alien ship's hull. Inside each pod were Earth's most elite space combat troops, the newly formed Global Space Force Rangers. Commander Rod was so focused on the battle outside that he almost missed the security alert from the lower decks. Internal breach detected. Multiple entry points. The realization hit him too late, the humans weren't just trying to destroy his ship. They were boarding it. Major Lisa Stone led the boarding party, her team moving through the alien corridors with practiced efficiency. They'd trained for years in mock-ups of Grey One vessels, using data gathered from previous encounters. "Remember your objectives," she commanded through their secure comm system. "Team Alpha with me to secure the children. Teams Bravo and Charlie, move to engineering and the bridge." The Grey One's internal security forces found themselves outmatched. The human soldiers moved like ghosts through their ship, using electromagnetic pulse weapons specifically designed to disrupt Grey One technology. Decades of studying alien biology had taught humans exactly where their opponents were vulnerable. In the holding cells, the alien guards were unprepared for the fury of human warriors fighting to rescue children. Major Stone's team breached the detention level with overwhelming force, their weapons set to non-lethal levels to avoid any risk to their precious cargo. "Control, this is Stone," she reported as her team secured the area. "We've reached the children. All 30 accounted for. Beginning emergency medical procedures to safely revive them from stasis." On the bridge, Commander Rod received the reports with growing horror. His ship was being overwhelmed from both outside and inside. The humans had turned his vessel's own security systems against his crew, sealing off sections and systematically taking control. "Commander," Officer Tim's voice shook as he delivered the final blow to their pride. "The humans, they're broadcasting a message to all nearby star systems. They're using our own communication network." General Miller's voice echoed through space, carried by the Grey One's own subspace transmitters. "To all alien civilizations monitoring this frequency, let this serve as humanity's formal introduction to the galactic community. We are not the primitive species you believed us to be. We have been watching, learning, and preparing. Today's events demonstrate what happens to those who threaten our children. Remember this well, Earth is protected." As human forces took control of the massive alien vessel, Commander Rod finally understood the full magnitude of their mistake. They had believed they were the advanced species studying primitive beings. Instead, they had revealed themselves to a sleeping giant, a species that had used patience, cunning, and the strongest of all motivations, the protection of their young, to prepare for this very day. The message to the galaxy was clear: humanity was emerging from its self-imposed hiding, and it was doing so with a demonstration of both its technological prowess and its unflinching determination to protect its own. The age of aliens freely abducting humans was over. The era of humanity as a force to be reckoned with had begun. Major Stone's medical team worked with practiced efficiency in the alien ship's holding area. Each stasis pod containing a human child was carefully monitored as they initiated the revival process. Dr. Emma Peters, the team's xenobiologist, checked her readings carefully before giving the order to open the first pod. "Vital signs stable," she reported, her hands steady despite the emotion in her voice. Beginning wake-up sequence for the first child. The pod hissed open, revealing a small boy no more than 7 years old. His eyes fluttered open, confusion quickly turning to fear until he saw the human faces of his rescuers. "It's okay," Major Stone said softly, kneeling beside him. "We're from Earth. You're safe now." Across the ship, Teams Bravo and Charlie had secured the bridge and engineering sections. Commander Rod and his senior officers were detained using specially designed restraints, their technology neutralized by human countermeasures. The Grey One leader could only watch in stunned silence as human troops efficiently took control of his vessel's systems. Colonel West coordinated with the ground teams from his position on the Vengeance. "General Miller, the ship is secure. All children are being revived. No casualties on either side." This had been part of the plan, to show not just strength, but restraint. Humanity wanted to send a message to the galaxy, but not one of mere brutality. In the command bunker, General Miller allowed herself a small smile. "Well done, Colonel. Begin Phase 3. Throughout the captured alien vessel, human technical teams were already at work, downloading the Grey One's database and studying their technology. Every piece of information would help humanity prepare for what they knew would come next. The galaxy would not ignore this display of force. Dr. Thompson's voice came over the comm, excitement evident in his tone. "General, you need to see this. Their database, it's not just about Earth. They have information on dozens of civilizations, including several that have been watching us. Some of them." He paused, "Some of them have been planning their own attempts at harvesting humans." "Send everything to analysis," Miller ordered. "And prepare a data package for our new friends. I want every hostile species out there to understand exactly what awaits them if they try anything similar." On the alien ship, the scene in the holding area was becoming increasingly emotional as more children were safely revived. Many of the young ones were crying, but these were tears of relief. The medical team had brought tablets containing video messages from their parents, reassuring them that they would be reunited soon. A small girl, perhaps 8 years old, tugged at Major Stone's sleeve. "Did my mom and dad send the army to save us?" Stone knelt down to meet the child's eyes. "Better than that. Every country on Earth worked together to save you. All of humanity united to bring you home." In engineering, human technicians made an astounding discovery. Officer Bill Reed called in his findings with barely contained excitement. "Control, you're not going to believe this. Their propulsion system, it's similar to designs we've been developing in secret. With what we're learning here, we could have our own fleet of interstellar ships within months instead of years." The Grey One's technology was advanced, but not insurmountably so. Humanity had already been on the right track with many of their developments, and this capture would accelerate their progress dramatically. Commander Rod, now under guard in what had been his ready room, finally spoke to his captors. You planned for this. All of it. For how long?" Colonel West, who had come aboard to oversee the operation personally, answered him. "Since your kind first started appearing in our skies. Every crashed ship, every failed abduction attempt, we learned from them all. We knew someday one of you would go too far. Taking our children?" He shook his head. "That was a line you should never have crossed." The alien commander slumped in his restraints. "The others will come. You've revealed yourselves now. They'll want to know how you hid your true capabilities for so long." "We're counting on it," West replied with a grim smile. "In fact, we're broadcasting everything that happened here today. Consider it humanity's coming out party." In orbit, the human fleet had expanded their defensive perimeter, their formation now protecting both Earth and their prize, the captured alien vessel. More ships were launching from hidden bases around the planet, taking up strategic positions. Humanity was not going to be caught off guard again. General Miller addressed the United Nations Security Council, her hologram appearing before representatives of every nation. The children will be returned to their families within hours. But this is just the beginning. We've suspected for years that Earth was being watched by multiple alien species. Now we have proof, and we have their attention. The Chinese representative spoke first. Then the Unification Treaty must be ratified immediately, Miller finished. Earth needs to stand together now more than ever. We've shown what humanity can do when united against a common threat. We need to maintain that unity. As if to emphasize her point, new data streamed in from deep space monitoring stations. Multiple objects were detected at the edge of the solar system, alien vessels that had been cloaked, watching. Now they were moving away at high speed, no doubt carrying news of humanity's true capabilities to their respective civilizations. Back on the captured ship, Major Stone watched as the last child was safely revived. Medical teams were preparing them for transport back to Earth, where their families waited. The children's ordeal was nearly over, but for humanity, a new chapter was beginning. Dr. Peters approached with her final report. All children are in good health. The stasis technology actually protected them from any ill effects. They're ready for transport whenever you give the word. Stone nodded, then activated her comm control. This is Major Stone. Operation Mama Bear is complete. The cubs are coming home. As transport ships docked to evacuate the children, humanity stood at the threshold of a new era. They had hidden in plain sight, playing the role of primitive beings while preparing for this moment. Now, they would emerge onto the galactic stage not as victims or test subjects, but as a force to be reckoned with. The message was clear to all watching species: Earth's children were off limits, and humanity was ready to prove it could protect its own against any threat the galaxy might pose. The return of the children to Earth became a moment that would be forever etched in human history. Transport ships descended through the atmosphere under heavy guard, each carrying precious cargo, the 30 children whose abduction had triggered humanity's emergence as a galactic power. At a secure military facility in Geneva, parents waited anxiously. The Global Task Force had decided to handle all reunions in one location, both for security and to demonstrate the new era of human unity. News cameras broadcasted the event worldwide, showing humanity's triumph while carefully avoiding revealing any classified technology. The first child to step from the transport was the small boy who had been revived first aboard the alien vessel. He ran straight into his mother's arms, followed quickly by the others. The sound of joyful crying and laughter filled the air as families reunited. General Miller watched from a discreet distance, speaking quietly into her secure comm. Status of our new guests. The Gray Ones are secured in the lunar facility, Colonel West reported from his position on the moon. Their ship is being moved there as well. Research teams are already studying everything we captured. But that's not the most interesting development, General. We're picking up significant chatter on their communication networks. In the newly constructed lunar base, hidden on the far side of the moon, Dr. Thompson worked with an international team of scientists to decode the alien transmissions. It's remarkable, he reported. The galaxy is buzzing with news of what happened. Some species are terrified, others are intrigued. A few are angry. Let them be angry, Miller replied. Show me what you found in their databases. The information recovered from the Gray One's ship had proven to be a goldmine. Star charts, technological data, and most importantly, detailed information about other alien civilizations. Humanity had gained decades of advancement in a single day. Commander Rod and his crew, now prisoners in the lunar facility, watched through observation windows as human scientists efficiently dismantled and studied their technology. You don't understand what you've done, he told his guards. The Galactic Council will not ignore this. We're counting on that, replied Dr. Peters, who had been assigned to study Gray One biology. In fact, we've already prepared our response to any official contact. In orbit, Earth's newly revealed defense fleet maintained its vigilant watch. More ships emerged from hidden bases each hour, taking up strategic positions throughout the solar system. Centuries of science fiction had prepared humanity for this moment. They knew the importance of defending their entire system, not just their home planet. At the United Nations, the Security Council had been in continuous session since the rescue operation. The new Earth Unified Defense Treaty was being ratified by nation after nation. Ancient rivalries and conflicts were being set aside in the face of humanity's new reality. The alien databases confirm what we long suspected, reported the Russian representative. At least 15 different species have been observing Earth, each with their own plans for humanity. Some saw us as test subjects, others as potential slaves or food sources. And now they see us as equals, the American representative added. Or at least as a force to be reckoned with. In the Geneva facility, Major Stone sat with some of the rescued children, listening to their stories. The kids had shown remarkable resilience, and their accounts would be valuable for understanding alien psychology and technology. They thought we were scared, one girl said, drawing in a notebook. But I knew someone would come for us. My dad's in the army, and he always says that humans never leave anyone behind. Stone smiled, sharing a knowing look with Dr. Peters. The aliens had fundamentally misunderstood human nature. They had seen humanity's divisions and conflicts as weakness, not realizing these were the very things that had made humans so adaptable and strong. In the Lunar Facility's research wing, Officer Reed made another breakthrough. The Grey One's defensive technology, it's based on principles we'd already theorized. With this confirmation, we can have our own version working within months. But humanity's rapid technological advancement wasn't the only concern for the watching galaxy. Earth's response to the abduction had demonstrated something far more threatening: humanity's capacity for unified action when threatened, and their ability to hide their true capabilities until the perfect moment to strike. General Miller received an urgent communication from the Deep Space Monitoring stations. Multiple vessels approaching, General. Bigger than anything we've seen before. They're making no attempt to hide themselves. The Galactic Council, Miller nodded. Right on schedule. Implement protocol first contact. Across Earth, hidden defense systems activated. The orbital fleet moved into defensive formations practiced for years in secret. But humanity's response wasn't entirely military in nature. Diplomatic teams, trained for decades in hypothetical alien contact scenarios, prepared to meet Earth's first official galactic visitors. In the lunar facility, Commander Rod felt the shift in his guards' behavior. They're coming, aren't they? The Council? Yes, Dr. Peters replied, studying his reaction. And thanks to your databases, we know exactly who we're dealing with. Did you really think we wouldn't prepare for this? The captured alien commander finally understood. The abduction of the children hadn't just triggered humanity's defensive response, it had given them the perfect opportunity to demonstrate their capabilities while gaining crucial intelligence about the broader galactic community. As the massive Council ships approached Earth, they received a transmission in perfect galactic standard, a language Earth shouldn't have known yet. General Miller's voice was calm and confident. To the approaching Galactic Council vessels, Earth welcomes official diplomatic contact. We are prepared to discuss our entrance into the galactic community as equals. Be advised that any hostile action will be met with the same response demonstrated during our recent defense of our children. We trust that won't be necessary. The message was clear. Humanity was stepping onto the galactic stage on their own terms. They had hidden their true capabilities for generations, allowing potential enemies to underestimate them while they prepared. Now, with their technology revealed and their unity demonstrated, Earth was ready to take its place among the stars. And it had all started because someone had made the mistake of threatening Earth's children. The Galactic Council's ships hung in Earth orbit like massive silver clouds, their size making even the Grey One's captured vessel look tiny in comparison. 3 days had passed since the rescue of the children, and now humanity faced its first official diplomatic contact with the broader galactic community. The chosen meeting place was symbolic, the neutral ground of Earth's moon. In a newly revealed facility built specifically for this moment, representatives of humanity prepared to meet the council delegates. General Miller stood with a carefully selected team of military, scientific, and diplomatic personnel. "Their shuttle is approaching," Colonel West reported from his monitoring station. "Scans confirm 5 different species aboard. All match the profiles we found in the Gray One's database." Dr. Thompson looked up from his data pad. "They're probably expecting to find primitive beings who got lucky with borrowed technology. Should we keep up that pretense?" "No," Miller replied firmly. "We show them exactly who we are. A species that chose to hide its capabilities until necessary. A species that can unite against any threat to its children. A species ready to take its place in the galaxy." The council representatives entered the meeting chamber with all the pomp and ceremony one would expect from an ancient galactic governing body. Their diverse forms, from towering crystalline beings to floating gas-filled sacs, demonstrated the variety of life humanity would now interact with. The lead delegate, a tall being with iridescent skin who identified himself as High Counselor Max, spoke first. "We must admit, humanity has surprised us all. Never in our records has a supposedly primitive species revealed such preparation." General Miller stepped forward. "With respect, Counselor, you should understand something. We've known about the galaxy's interest in Earth for generations. Every crashed scout ship, every failed abduction attempt, every primitive probe, we learned from them all. We chose to appear primitive while we prepared." The crystalline being chimed melodiously, their species equivalent of speech. "Yet you revealed all this because of mere offspring? You sacrificed strategic advantage for children? That's something you need to understand about humans," Dr. Peters interjected. "There is nothing mere about our children. They are our future, our hope, our reason for striving to be better. The Gray Ones didn't just commit a crime, they gave us the perfect reason to demonstrate our true capabilities." In the adjacent chamber, Commander Rod and select members of his crew had been brought to observe the meeting. The Gray One leader watched with a mixture of fear and fascination as humanity confidently negotiated with the galaxy's ruling body. Colonel West activated a holographic display, showing the full extent of Earth's hidden preparations. Secret bases throughout the solar system, fleets of advanced ships, defensive installations on every major moon and asteroid. We've been ready for first contact for decades. We simply chose to wait for the right moment. The gas-filled being rippled in what their database identified as surprise. "You wished to be underestimated." "We wished to be prepared," Miller corrected. "Humanity has a long history of facing threats unprepared. We learned from that history. The Gray One's databases show at least 15 species had plans to exploit Earth in some way. Now they know better." High Counselor Max gestured to the display. "And what are your demands? Revenge against those who plan to harm your world?" "Revenge?" Miller smiled. "No. We want what humanity has always wanted, to explore, to learn, to grow. We want equal standing in the galactic community. We want trade, cultural exchange, and diplomatic relations. But most importantly..." She paused, making eye contact with each council member. "We want everyone to understand that Earth is off-limits to those with hostile intentions." Back on Earth, the families of the rescued children had become symbols of humanity's new era. News programs showed them returning to normal lives, but now with the knowledge that their planet stood ready to defend its own against any threat. The small boy who had been rescued first appeared on screens worldwide, speaking at a special UN session. "They thought taking us would make Earth weak," he said, his voice clear and strong. "But they made us stronger. They made all humans work together." In the lunar facility, the council members reviewed the evidence of humanity's preparations. Decades of reverse-engineered technology, carefully hidden advances, and most impressively, a united planetary defense strategy that had been developed in total secrecy. Your species is remarkable, High Counselor Max admitted. You could have revealed yourselves many times, gained technological advantages through official channels. Instead, you chose patience. We chose wisdom, Dr. Thompson replied. We've seen what happens when cultures clash at different technological levels. We wanted to meet the galaxy as equals, not as supplicants or victims. The crystalline being chimed again. And now? What does humanity plan to do with its new position? General Miller's answer was diplomatic but firm. We plan to take our place among the stars, as we always knew we would. We'll share our unique perspectives and innovations. We'll trade and learn and grow. But we'll also maintain our defenses and our unity. The galaxy should know that humanity stands ready to be either friend or foe. The choice belongs to those who approach us. The council members conferred briefly, then High Counselor Max made the announcement humanity had prepared so long to hear. Earth is hereby recognized as a sovereign galactic civilization, with all rights and responsibilities that entails. Your defensive capabilities and unified response have proven your readiness. As the announcement was broadcast to Earth, celebrations broke out worldwide. Humanity had passed its first major test as a galactic civilization. They had demonstrated not just technological capability, but wisdom, restraint, and above all, the fierce determination to protect their own. In the Geneva facility, Major Stone watched the celebration with the last few families completing their debriefing. The small girl who had drawn pictures of their rescue tugged at her sleeve one last time. "Are we safe now?" she asked. "From other aliens?" Stone knelt down to meet her eyes. "We've always been safe, little one. Humanity was just waiting for the right moment to show it. And thanks to you brave children, the whole galaxy now knows, you don't mess with human kids." As the Galactic Council ships departed Earth orbit, they left behind a changed solar system. Humanity had emerged from its technological hiding place, united and ready to face whatever challenges the galaxy might bring. The message was clear to all watching species: Earth was no longer an easy target for exploitation. It was home to a species that had mastered the art of patience, preparation, and when necessary, overwhelming force in defense of its children. The age of human isolation was over. The era of humanity as a galactic power had begun. And it all started because someone made the mistake of threatening the wrong species' children.